Good evening, everyone. Hope everyone's having a good weekend. Let me know if you guys can hear me. A little bit of a special edition for our trading syndicate. Hey, Joe Bell. Good evening. Well, here we go again. Just when I keep saying these markets will maybe get back to normal, and here we go. So everyone is expecting a big gap down. Yeah, just when things were starting to calm down. Welcome to all the folks joining us on YouTube. I'm JJ. Hey, Kevin. Hey, Hank. Raj. Raj, what are you doing up this late? I'm surprised, brother. Oh, boy. Just when you thought it was safe to go back in the kitchen. Hey, Petra. Let's go over. We talked about this in the room. I said when there's a news break like this, what's generally going to happen is it's a great opportunity for traders who are short the market on a Sunday night. Globex, you're going to have a thin order book. So in that opening auction, they'll goose the order book a bit, show some size, have people back away from the bids, and let's see what happens. Oh, hey, look at that. Back in San Francisco, and what a nice sunny day it is. Beautiful. That's great. Yeah, I thought, we'll talk a little bit about this. Now, oil traders have had margins raised at a lot of brokerage firms, or not at all. I got an email from AMP saying they've suspended the oil contract. So brokerage firms will try and protect their capital. And that just is common sense. So when events like this happen, they're going to raise margins. They have to protect themselves. They're allowing us to use their capital. The whole thing to trading a night like this is, if you are going to trade, here's the thing. Do you have the setup? the skill and the capital to trade fast markets. If you don't, just sit back and watch, right? There's no harm in sitting and watching. You learn a lot. For those traders who are well capitalized, do you have a specific trade plan? You have to understand that markets can be very, very thin when you have a crisis or a situation. And what I mean by that is the order books will be thin. When order books are thin, you can't expect a lot of stability. You better be a fast trader, or as larger funds have, they'll have electronic execution and algorithms that they've spent, frankly, millions of dollars developing. But they have an edge that we don't have. And sometimes in business, Walmart's going to do business when the little mom and pop shop can't. And we just have to, you know, be in tune with that. Now, don't worry. There'll be some initial drama. After that drama passes, the larger traders will establish a bottom. Once the bottom is established, things will calm down. When things calm down, brokerage firms will restore margin. That's a process, right? So what we're here to see this evening, everyone's expecting a gap down. Right? Yeah, Travis, these guys spend hundreds of thousands of dollars a month on data, millions of dollars on infrastructure. They hire people specifically for infrastructure, data, to write code. You're sitting there with a laptop, you have, you know, let the large people find the bottom. It's like when you go to dinner with people who have you go to dinner with a friend who just made $1 billion on a deal, or you just made $400 million on a deal. When that big, expensive dinner check comes, you get alligator arms. That's okay. You know, the point is there's going to be a ton of opportunity, right, for us. And for the macro traders out there who are watching this, let the chart tell you what's going on. Right? We've got about a minute here before the open. I've got the larger chart here. Once we open, let's see where we open. Our close was 60.25 on Friday. So let's see how much we gap down from that close. 59.13 is a level to watch down here. See if we open above or below that. Hey Sanjay, how are you? I've got a cousin named Sanjay. How you doing? So here we go. We open down here. 59.66. Fairly decent gap down. Right? We're back in the cost basis that we launched off of. So all in all, not too bad. Okay? You see that? That's our cost basis. This is our distribution. And we opened right back in the middle of our cost basis. Okay? So not that much drama. Let's go take a look and see. There's our open. We opened underneath that stop, took it out. That's from that little weird session from the holiday. Watching 59.80, which is a level that I've been watching for a while. Let's see if we get above or below it. Look above and fail of 80 so far. Little backfill. Now the order book, ladies and gentlemen, is very thin. It's ones and twos and threes and fours on each side. So if you are trading, be aware of that, right? There's our overnight lows down here. There'll be some stops here. Those are your upper stops. They run those upper stops. 59.90 and a quarter will be the next. And then just let's see if they front run. Hey, Truth, how you doing? So now remember the dealers bought inventory here. They'll probably want to try and get rid of it here. Let's see if we can move that point of control up. Right? Get a little distribution happening. It's not that bad, right? As far as gaps go, it's not that bad, right? We've seen worse. Now, for those of you who are going to be trading, and one thing that we will have to watch out for through this week is we're going to have to watch just event risk. Always trade with stops. You know, I hate watching the news, but just in case, you know, be mindful that events could happen and you could get a news spike up or down. Hey, Chris Barber, welcome. First time caller, long time listener. Well, it's good that you caught us live. We're just seeing how this crazy market's going to adapt to the news. You know, and like we were saying in the room earlier this morning, I said, remember, whatever happens macro-wise, let the chart, let the market tell you how it reacts. Always trust the chart. You know, the old traders would always say the tape never lies, right? And that's true, right? The tape never lies. The tape, what they were referring to was the price action, and now the tape refers to the chart. The chart never lies. You know, politicians will lie, deal people will lie, stock promoters will lie, you know, but the chart, the actual transactions that the market's undergoing, they don't lie. They tell you exactly what's going on right now. See how it's jumping around and the spread gets bigger than a tick? That is really, really very, very um, a good example of a thin market. Look, there we hit the stop right away, right there to 90 and a quarter, right? Still technical, right? Still mechanical, right? You got to love algorithms and you got to love electronic execution. I mean, look at that. You know, that's that upper stop from the holiday electronic session, and we hit it to the tick, right? So what happened there? The large traders who were long, as soon as we got there, they sold into it, right? It's good to know where the stops are, and you don't need market profile for that. A half-hour candle chart will work just nicely on that as well, right? So on my 1 minute chart, these are the balance levels from yesterday. Sorry, from Friday. So let's take a look. When a market opens, you'll want to kind of find a balance zone. And a balance zone is just an area for two-sided trade. So after a few minutes, you're going to see the market's going to go up. And oh, there, you see that point of control that was down here? It moved up, right? It moved up. So what you'll do is you'll look for two-sided trade here, draw yourself a balance zone, right? Right? Double that balance zone. And here's, this is the market in action. So you double the balance zone up, double it down. That's your profit zone from that distribution here. Here is your, when you put it on sale, right? You got some levels to watch. Because market profile is great, but we like executing off a 1 minute candle chart. Yeah, we have, when a market gap's down, here's what happens, Raj. Like anytime we get a movement down, the smart money shorts cover, right? And the dumb money shorts initiate. So people who are just blindly short down here on that open, now they're going to push, and I'll target 59.95. Right. So we push off of that. Anyone who's short under 80, 87, 88, they're going to start bidding to cover. And you just use the levels. If you can't get up under 87, let's see if 94 and three quarters is reactive, right? And we'll anchor VWAP at the open, right? So there's our VWAP. Our VWAP is 59.77, right? Things are just getting started. Now, what happens if we break out? What happens if we get up to 6,000? Right, we've taken that stop. People will be short underneath it. Now, if you don't know what we're doing here, we'd love you to come to the trading syndicate and spend some time with us. Use the discount in the code. You'll learn from myself and other traders, and you'll learn how to make a living. We don't promise Lamborghinis, although I do like them. I doubt I'd fit in one now. But, nothing against Lamborghinis. But we trade and we teach people how to make money. Hey, Billy, what's going on? So we've got some inventory above us, in that 60-25 area. Now, let's see if we run out of buyers up here. If we do, check that out. What's our high? High is 59.94 and three quarters. Beautiful. Works like a charm, right? So this is the middle of our profit zone. You can expect a little backfill. If the market doesn't backfill, it means that everyone is short and they're going to come in for it hot and heavy. There's the backfill, right? So now you have a framework for the evening. When we if we get up over 6,002, right, we're gonna hit some inventory, right? What's up, Doc? Pump it. You sound like you're trading bulletin board stocks. How are things in Saudi? What's the mood there? Right? Our man on the ground in Saudi. What's the mood over there? It's nice having this trading room. We have people all over the world, so we can get, you know, you're on duty, same flow of patients. Everyone's relaxed. Well, that's good. That's good. Hopefully this starts to resolve. Can only hope. Little progress report there. Exactly. These markets aren't really structured for a big sell. The way they've structured these markets in the last 20 years, they're an asset allocation, um, assets under management, fee-based market. That's how these markets make money. People collect assets and get paid a fee. The large money managers are holding stock for decades and decades, and they've paid for that stock in cash, so it's not subject to margin selling. You know. Oh, what did I forget? Also, if you come into the trading syndicate, we'll teach you how to deal with those funded trader accounts. Our friends at Apex, they offer a discount. Check that out in the description, right? We have two of these video sessions every day. We do one at 7:30 in the morning London time, which is about 2:30 in the morning New York time. Then we do another one at 9 Eastern time for the New York session, the RTH session, right? So now what we're doing is we're looking for the bid, right? We've got our inventory is priced here, and we're running out of buyers. So now we're going to just put it on sale a little bit and try and find some bids. I'd be looking for bids in this 59.90 area because anybody that was using that as a stop will be bid to cover there. If you have a full-time job, swing trading futures does require a bit of a level of skill, Sanjay, and quite a bit of cash. Because futures margin requirements to hold overnight are quite expensive. But the good thing, Sanjay, is the futures market is a 23-hour market. So you can trade after work. And if you come into our room, I'll teach you how to trade short-term, short in and out trading, day trading, where you'll actually be able to make a living. See, as we come down, there's going to be a few buyers, right? Because that's where the shorts are trapped underneath there. If those shorts see size, right? If those short sellers see that there's a big seller, they'll drop their bids down. And we'll come back down to that point of control where the cost basis was on the holiday. What about the volume after hours? Let me ask you, Sanjay, are you trading a 50, $100 million account? I mean, if you're trading 1,000 contracts, 5,000 contracts, maybe. But if you're just a retail trader, you don't have to worry about volume, right? You're going to learn how to trade using, yeah, just one contract, brother. You're going to be all right. Okay? Don't worry about it. Don't worry about volume and liquidity, right? They'll be able to trade your contract. Okay? You can trade 10 to 20 contracts quite nicely in Globex. Hey, and when you learned, I told you there'd be bids down here at 90. We hit the bid, found the bid, lifted the offer, right? It's just good business. You find buyers, then you move price away, make them chase you, right? That's what size traders do. They whip and drive you guys into the bids and the offers. You guys get herded like cattle, right? No, Sanjay, you're talking. Your information is based on old wives' tales. It's actually not based on proper information. The swings are not wild. You are not going to be pushed out of your position. I have at least 100 people who are with me every night. Some people actually wake up at 2:30 in the morning to be on my stream and who are in my room and trade. Price action is nice. You've been sold a false good bill of goods, my friend. I'm glad you joined us on the stream. Now you can get the truth. I have traders who trade before the open, right? I have one of my guys in my mentorship. I do a one-on-one coaching mentorship for life. One of my guys in this last quarter, he made over $450,000, and he trades exclusively during the Globex session. So it can be done. Back to 90. Right now, I think we're going to go fishing under 90. The time zone doesn't matter, right? We teach you when to take the setup, right? We teach you how to do business. Come by the room, right? Give the room a shot. We'll teach you how to do this. It's not a big deal. Yeah, it's a lot calmer than people expected, right? Right? And I told you guys, right? Everybody expects this thing to go crazy. You've got to understand the US capital markets, and I'm speaking as a Canadian, the infrastructure and the way the US capital markets are built are very sound. They can handle a lot of volume. They can handle a lot of transactions. They can handle a lot of stress. The clearing system is sound, right? The plumbing that runs the market is very, very sound. Even on huge volume days, you don't get a lot of trade issues and problems. The system is a beautifully built machine. You know, you'll get gaps down and gaps up and all that sort of thing, but on the whole, the system is very, very well built. It's built to take stress. The firms that run in these markets are so well capitalized. Of course, like the mortgage crisis was a different story. You know, they got a little ahead of themselves, as people do. See, so watch now how as it slows down. You notice that twice now we came down to 59.90, found the bid, and then the offers are starting to lift, right? So now let's see. You can tell we got a seller here. Right? There's our seller. I told you, right there. There's our seller. Yeah, don't believe what you read on the internet about trading, and there's a lot of misinformation out there by people, you know, who really have no clue of what they're talking about. Right? I've been in the business for 33 years. Look at that. There's that bid again. Right? Oh yeah, we'll teach you not to blow accounts. right? If you want to learn how to treat this as a business, you know, if you want to treat this as a business, I'll teach you how to do proper business. We have a great room, and not just myself. We've got other traders. Our commodities guy is ex-Goldman, right? It's pretty slow and calm, and look at that. It's printing above the bid ask. It's a really thin order book, folks, tonight. Really thin. It's still, I've got, I think the biggest offer is I see 37, the biggest bid 22. So it's a thin market, and that's to be expected. It's pretty calm, pretty slow. No, I'm not a soccer guy, Billy. I was raised in the prairies. Hey, Lear, how you doing? I am pleased to say the Saskatchewan Roughriders won. I believe it was yesterday. Was it the day before? Candle charts are a beautiful thing, too. You can really see that there is a seller right there. So if you're a short seller, you'll sell against that seller, right? You'll sell alongside, and you'd put your stop above where those sellers are. You'd be shorting here, and you'd look for product under the bottom of that candle. I don't know what a pin bar is, Sanjay. See? Seller. So you'd be short, stop, and you'd be looking for bids right there. Right? It's simple. I don't know where you're getting all these terms and stuff, Sanjay, but I would, I'd say you could use some good education. I don't know what the chart on CL looks like, Travis. I did up these CL levels, but I'm not sure how accurate they will. Right? Yeah, I don't care about wicks and stuff like that, man. Listen, I've been making markets and doing this for 33 years. I don't look at all that stuff. The top of the candle is where the seller initiates. I know because that's what I used to do. And I was the seller, so I created the top of the candle. The bottom of the candle is where the sellers stop competing and lift price. It's that simple. Don't go in for all that stuff. Just keep it simple. Point of control's right there. Point of control's right there. That's where the shorts were stuck. That's where the size is. Right? Pretty simple. Right. We'll help you wade through all the BS, Sanjay. Back to where the sellers were before. Yeah, no problem. What you want to do when you're learning is try and empty your mind, and we'll help you. If you're open-minded and you're willing to learn, we can help you. I always ask traders when they start with us, how stubborn are you? Right? A lot of people will pick up a ton of useless information. And it won't help them make any money. As you said, you blew up accounts, right? So that information is not helping you. Put it down. Put that load of bricks down, right? It's a lot of weight to carry, right? There's a standard deviation there that's bringing in sellers. Now, see how the offer is lifting over that white line, right? That means the sellers have seen buyers and they'll increase price. But there are sellers competing at that 92.5, 93 level. It's very, very simple. Markets have been around a lot longer than electronic and computerized trading and chart-based trading. So how did people trade? Sanjay, if I gave you a pencil and a piece of paper and the price every 15 minutes, would you be able to trade? Right? Most people wouldn't. We'll teach you how. No charts, right? All you need is a 1 minute chart. The chart here, this is a TPO or market profile chart. It's nice to have, it's not necessary. Right? You don't have to have market profile software to be in our room and to benefit from our education. Found some buyers, didn't we? Right? We had enough short covering here, right, where the sellers went, okay, we can raise price over 59.94, right? It's beautiful. The simplicity of this market is really quite a thing, right? So the last place the sellers initiated was there, and of course the top of that candle, right? Now, 6,000 is here, and it's a place where most people will sell or try and front run. See, the top of the candle, it's where the sellers initiate. That's where they're going to initiate again. Doesn't matter if it's a wick or a twick or a wick or a body or whatever nonsense they tell you. The top of the candle, that's where the seller is going to be. Why? Because I've been the seller, and that's where I'd be, right? Right? Come learn how to trade a market from somebody who's actually made a market. You know, it's like you're going to learn how to bake a cake from somebody who actually knows how to, who's made a cake. You know? Yeah. Well, Hank, if you sold there before, you would again, right? It's a good place to sell. Right. Okay. It's really slow. This is good because what it does is it allows all those people. Remember, folks, there is a fairly sizable gap underneath us, right? So we came right into the cost basis. You'll learn things in our room like inventory cost basis, right? And why those things are important. We'll get all the double talk of pin cushions and all that stuff. We don't talk about any of that stuff. Just keep it simple. Where are the sellers? Double top, right? Hank, you should go to sleep. You should get some sleep. Don't be up when When I do the Globex session, you know, at 7:30 in the morning my time, you should be you should be awake. You should be asleep. Yes, this method of trading works on everything. There we go. Stop run. Love to see it. Hey Chris, how you doing? So we've almost filled the gap, right? Little stop run that helps dealers get rid of product, right? You run the stop of that day. It forces people to cover their short. That's buying. Dealers will sell into it. Now watch 59.94 and a half to see if that holds on the backfill. Okay? Hey Jam, what's up? Oh, as we get into Friday's range, right? There's going to be inventory up here, right? You can see transactions where a market is traded and spent time and volume. There will be inventory, right? So that means there'll be some supply. Hey James, how's it going? Yeah, so more distribution, right? The inventory of the overnight is priced under 59.91. It's now being sold at 59.97. We sold it up to 6,002. We ran out of buyers, so we put it on sale here. There's a little, you take price up and that creates demand, and then you fill in that demand with supply. So how we trade is we trade a look above and fail. So if you're shorting, we never short the front side of the move. You always wait till the market shows you that sellers are competing, and then you'll short a market. Yeah, Travis, it's pretty calm. I mean, it's thin. It's a thin market. Right now, I see the order book starting to fill out a little bit. Not much, just a little bit. So, a lot of people, and I saw in the room, they were looking at under 5,900, and, those were their targets and everything like that. And if you had acted on their targets, you'd be short in the hole, right? So, always let the chart tell you what's going on. Trust the chart. You know, the chart will tell you what the actual transactions are, right? The chart won't lie because those are the actual transactions that are taking place, not some speculation, right? We're retail traders, so we don't have to be first, right? We don't have to be first in. Let the large size traders pave the way. Let them clear, you know, the path for us. I'll stay on for a little bit more. Anybody have any questions? I think the heat wave's over in the UK now. Let's see if we can move that point of control up. I own crypto, but I do not trade it. I only trade one thing, Sanjay. My philosophy is to trade one thing well, not 10 things poorly. So I own crypto. I own Bitcoin and Ethereum, but what I do is I have these levels, and I told you guys where Bitcoin was gonna start to stabilize at that 97,800 level, and it didn't quite get down there, but close on BTC. Risk assets, right? Risk assets are all going to get sold off when you have bad news. Yeah, I was late to the whole Bitcoin party. So what I do is at certain levels I'll buy a little bit and put it away. Not a huge position. And if the 0 and 1 mafia actually do something with it, great. If not, the amount of money is not going to destroy me. I haven't taken a trade. It's almost midnight for me. I'm not a degenerate. I'm just doing this session for information for the folks so they wouldn't get trapped short in the hole. Little bit of education. I'll be up in 5 hours and then I'll start trading. It's been a good weekend. It's been a long weekend. I only trade when it's suitable for me. I'm a business person, right? I'm not one of these guys who does rails of coke, drinks energy drinks, and trades. No, because it's 11:30 at night for me, man. Right? And I'm a 57-year-old man who's been a trader for 33 years. So I'm not like an 18-year-old kid strung out on drugs and energy drinks. So I'm a business person. I only do business for me at certain times. Right? That's all. Right? All right, let's see if we can close the gap. Yeah. And besides, margins are increased too. Right? There we go. Gaps filled. Right? And there you have it. Back into Friday's range. As we get into Friday's range, we will look for a little bit of resistance as we come into the 12s. Gaps will fill if the order flow supports it. There's a lot of really BS theories in retail traders have all these theories, and I don't know where the hell they get them from. But one thing I know from taking companies public and creating markets is that if you don't have the order to flow to do it, it ain't gonna happen. So if you have a gap up and you've got no selling, the gap's not gonna fill. 2 years later, maybe it might. Who knows? But I'm not gonna short it. right? Gap down is excess supply, right? You have to have the order flow to support these theories, right? You have to have the customers to do it. Otherwise, it's all a bunch of BS, right? So I don't use these euphemisms and all that stuff. I let the market tell me what's going on. I have a way of doing business, right? And if the business supports it at the time, great. If not, it won't. It's pretty simple. I know a lot of people who have blown up accounts going gaps must fill, and they keep saying that as they lose all their money. You gotta have some common sense in business, right? You gotta have some common sense. We're gonna go back and forth over Friday's low and work that out. Let the market tell you what it's gonna do, right? It's just like when you're driving and your girlfriend's trying to give you directions. Yeah, Howard, it's down at 59.82. The gap is filled, my friend. I call a gap Friday's low. Sorry, 59.85, Howard, up here, if you're watching the screen. Yeah, we had a two-tick gap once for what, a year that didn't fill? And the people who were short that gap, it was an ugly year. Uh, anyway, well, folks, I'll start wrapping it up. Thanks for joining us for this little session. Please visit us at the Trading Syndicate. Use the discount code. Learn how to trade those funded accounts with our friends at Apex. There's a discount in there in the description. I'm going to go catch some Z's, and we'll see you all, my Globex crew, at 7:30 in the morning, UK time, which is 2:30 in the morning, New York time. Remember, folks, if you are trading, trade smart out there, okay? Be good to yourself. Thanks, everyone. Have a wonderful evening. Bye for now.